A lavish gala, in full swing, glittering chandeliers hanging above a sea of well-dressed guests. A woman, Jessica, stands on the balcony, watching from afar, her hand lightly resting on the cold railing. Her thoughts are far from the excitement. Below. Jessica was used to standing at the edges of rooms like this, watching the world unfold around her. It wasn't because she wasn't deserving. It was because they, her husband's colleagues, the elites of the world, couldn't see her the same way they saw him. She had tried so hard, tried to blend in, wear the right clothes, say the right things, but no matter how many smiles she offered, no matter how many times she greeted with grace, they still didn't invite her into their inner circle. The invitations had all gone to the white faces around her, but this time was different. The silence of the night, the sharp contrast between the noise of the party and the emptiness she felt inside, spoke volumes. And as her husband walked into the room, the realization hit her hard. He had been invited, she had not. The world has often ignored her except for him. But when things hit their breaking point, she discovers the power he'd kept hidden. Scene, the next morning. Jessica sits at the edge of their bed, looking at the calendar. The invitation that never arrived. Her eyes flicker with frustration. She had known for years that her husband, Marcus, a successful tech billionaire, was a man of many secrets. Their life together was filled with wealth, but also loneliness. Every day she fought to stay strong, to ignore the slights and comments whispered in corners when they thought she couldn't hear. But that night had been the tipping point. The gala had been another reminder that no matter how hard she tried to fit in, she would always be an outsider in their world. Her mind raced, the silence around her growing louder. She needed something. A place. A refuge, a place they could call their own. A place where she didn't feel like an accessory to his success, but the heart of it. Scene. Jessica and Marcus drive to a secluded area outside the city. As they approach a massive gate, Jessica's heart races in anticipation. Marcus quietly guides the car past the gates and into a long, winding driveway. Marcus never spoke of the estate. In fact, she had no idea it existed until today. But now, as they neared the sprawling mansion, she could feel the weight of it, the heavy air of a place built on secrets. "Is this ours?" she asked, her voice trembling. Marcus's eyes softened. "I've kept it for moments like this," he said quietly. "When you need more than just a house. When you need peace." The mansion loomed ahead, a $2 million estate tucked away in a corner of the world that no one could find unless they were meant to. The perfect place to heal, a place where she could be herself without the judgment of society's gaze. Scene. The estate, now their sanctuary. Jessica walks through the halls, her footsteps echoing softly as the camera follows her through rooms filled with memories and hopes. Her expression has changed, from frustration to awe. Marcus had made sure that their new home wasn't just luxurious, but comforting. Every inch of the estate spoke of a future filled with possibilities. It was not just a refuge from the world, it was a space where Jessica could finally breathe. She wandered the grounds, taking in the sight of the lush gardens, the winding paths that led to quiet corners, and the massive library where she could lose herself for hours. There was no gala here, no invitations to be forgotten. Just space, room to think, to grow, and to become. As she stood at the edge of the estate, looking out over the horizon, a new sense of purpose began to fill her. She had always wanted more than just wealth. She wanted to be seen not as the wife of a billionaire, but as her own person. Jessica, now in the library, opens a letter. The ink on the paper is faded, but the words cut through her heart with the same sharpness they had years ago. She hadn't expected to be confronted with the past so soon, but the letter was a reminder of everything she had left behind, her old life, the people who had never understood her. She had been the girl who worked hard, who always had to prove herself in a world that didn't seem to want her. As the words on the page blurred in her vision, she felt the weight of every sacrifice she had made, every tear shed in the shadows. But she wasn't that girl anymore. She had found something stronger. Her eyes lifted, and for the first time in years, she felt at peace. The world might never accept her for who she was, but in this space surrounded by love, trust, and understanding, she didn't need to be accepted by anyone but herself. Scene. A final sweeping shot of the estate at sunset. The mansion stands, tall against the backdrop of the setting sun, its golden light spilling over the horizon. Jessica stands by the window, her gaze steady and full of promise. The years of feeling overlooked and underestimated had led her to this moment, to quiet, intimate understanding with herself. Her journey wasn't about fitting into someone else's world, it was about creating her own. And now, with Marcus by her side, they were building something together. In the quiet of the estate, Jessica realized the true power of her story. It wasn't about being invited in, it was about having the strength to create a space where she could thrive on her own terms. End scene. The camera pans up, capturing the peaceful, serene beauty of the estate as the credits begin to roll. Through her journey from invisibility to empowerment, Jessica's story serves as a reminder that sometimes the world may overlook us, but we have the power to build our own haven and find peace within ourselves. And in the end, it is not the invitations we receive that define us, but the choices we make.